Hello everyone, my name is Olivia and welcome to a book haul slash a thrift store haul. And this is probably going to be my last book haul of the year because I don't see myself acquiring any new books towards the end of the year despite Christmas happening very soon. But I wanted to show you a couple of things that I have acquired recently from thrift stores as well as a lot of books that I have received from publishers. They are all so amazing. I am so excited for every single one of them. But let's start with the thrift store haul because I only have about 4 items to show you, so we can get through that very quickly and then we can get into the book haul. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that when I go thrifting, I always look at the sheets section. This is so I can acquire some sheets to eventually create clothing out of. I learned this trick from Rachel Maxke's channel and it has saved me so much money because you can simply just thrift some sheets and then turn it into a beautiful garment and you won't have to spend money that you would use on yards and yards of fabric from like Joann. So I have acquired 2 sheets that I hope to turn into either a dress or a skirt, and the first one is a dark brown fabric. This has a very subtle line to it, so this is going to be a little bit more difficult because I've never worked with a pattern before. So when you're cutting out your fabric, it's very important to follow the lines of the fabric so your pattern doesn't look wonky when you sew it all together. So this is going to be a new challenge for me, but it is a cotton material. It was previously like a king size bed sheet, so I definitely want to either turn this into a skirt or another pinafore. I have no idea, but I know that I can always use a nice dark brown fabric and I'm really happy with it because the last brown material that I got from a thrift store was a bit thinner, and that's the one that I turned into my pinafore, and it's very see-through, it's very thin, so I think this will have a much more structured type of fit to it once I create it into a garment. The next piece of fabric that I am very excited about is an emerald green type of fabric. This is also a bedsheet that I locked my eyes on in a thrift store and had to get because I have been obsessed with this color lately. I just love emerald green so much, and it's not as deep of an emerald green. Maybe this is like a forest green. All you green nerds in the comments can tell me that I'm saying the wrong color, but this is a piece of fabric that I hope to turn into a dress because I found a really cute pattern on Etsy that I've seen a lot of people use, and I want to try and turn it into either a dress or a shirt depending on how much fabric I have, because this one seems to be less than the brown fabric that I thrifted. During that thrifting trip, I also got something that serves no purpose whatsoever because it is so tiny, and it is a Christmas mug. A Christmas mug that probably holds about like 4 ounces of water, and it is amazing. It was a set of 4 and I didn't need 4. I just wanted one for myself, and I was thinking maybe I can put like a little bit of coffee in here. I'm not really wanting a full cup of coffee. Maybe I can put some hot chocolate because my body won't let me have a full cup of hot chocolate, but maybe I can have like 4 ounces of it. So it's really cute. It says on the bottom that it's from 1987. I don't know if that's when the company originally started or if this is from 1987, but either way, it's really stinking adorable and it is just amazing. And when I showed it to everyone, they were like, this is the most useless mug you can buy, but it was $1, so like how can I say no to that? And the last thing that I got from a thrift store is probably one of my new favorite sweaters of all time, and I should have worn it for this video, but I just recently filmed a video with this sweater on, so like that's why I didn't wear it. And it is this sweater that I got from Goodwill. I was walking to the entrance of Goodwill and they had a rack of clothing by the window, and I saw the sleeve of this sweater and I saw that it had this like cute little pattern towards the bottom, and I was like, I love this sweater so much. I haven't even seen it fully, but I love it and I need it. And I went to that rack and I couldn't find the sweater and I gave up on it, and then my dad came up to me and he's like, I found the sweater. And it is amazing. It gives me dark academia vibes. If my college had a sweater similar to this with like our school colors right here, I would have bought it. It is like an oversized fit despite it being a medium, and it is 100% cotton and also made in Italy. So like it's a very fancy sweater. It's also really like heavy, so it's good for layering. This sweater brings me so much joy and I'm really happy that I found it, and that is probably one of my favorite thrift store finds that I have ever acquired. Now let's move on to the books that I recently acquired. I have 8 books to show you and I'm very excited about all of them, but I have not read most of them like I usually do. Usually when I do a book haul, I separate it by books that I have read already and books that I have not read, and I have only read 1 book from this pile, so I'm going to show you that one first. And it is Olympus by Rachel Smythe. Olympus was my first webtoon that I have ever read on the app Webtoon. It is essentially a graphic novel or a comic series that comes out every single week, and I have been reading this webtoon since like episode 20 and they're on episode 180. So I have been with this webtoon for a while, and they finally published a physical copy of Olympus. This is only the first 25 episodes and it's probably one of my favorite graphic novels. I don't know if webtoons are considered graphic novels or if they're considered comics, because comics come out in a serialized fashion and this comes out in a serialized fashion, but now that it's published, is it considered a graphic novel? I really don't know the differences between it, so if you have the answer to that, I would love to hear it in the comments. But either way, this is a Hades and Persephone retelling, and it's one of my favorite retellings of all time. It is just so expansive. It deals with so many different gods and how they all interact with Hades and Persephone. And the art style is gorgeous. Hades is blue and Persephone is pink, and all the gods are different colors, and it is just fantastic. Thank you so much to Random House for providing me with a copy of Olympus. You made my day. The next book I just recently acquired this week, and it is called Pure Color by Sheila Heti. This is a novel that the publisher reached out to tell me about, and they said, if you want a copy, we can send it your way. And I said, this is really beautiful. It sounds right up my alley. I would love to receive a copy. So from the editor's note, it says that Pure Color is about the whole world and about a woman named Myra. It's about the shape of human life from beginning to end. It's about having a parent and losing a parent. It's about the surrounding world, sky, trees, lakes, stars, and in Heidi's word, the world behind this world, which can reveal itself in rare moments when something shattering occurs. It says it's set in motion by deep feeling of loss, and in simple language that is both lyrical and full of humor, it seeks truth by way of observations about God, death, and the vicissitudes of friendship and love. This sounds right up my alley. I did not realize that it's going to deal with grief, but I'm always looking for books that deal with grief because that's just a topic that I always want to read about, and the cover just really draws me in. It's probably because green is becoming one of my new favorite colors, but I just love the simplicity of it all, and I just cannot wait to dive into it. It's also in a very short format, so there's not a lot of writing on each page, so this seems like a book that I can probably fly through during a weekend, and I'm just very excited about it because I have seen this cover all over Instagram and I was like, ooh, I want a copy. And when the publisher reached out to me, I was very excited about it. So thank you so much to FSG Books for providing me with a copy. This book is stunning. The next book I have to tell you about is a book that I actually won in a giveaway, which is very exciting because I entered it on a whim and I didn't think I was going to win, and then Flatiron Books told me that I was a winner, so I won a copy of Tell Me How to Be by Neel Patel. This is a book about an Indian American and his relationship to his mother. So it says it follows Renu and Akash, who are mother and son, and they recently lost Renu's husband. So they go to Illinois to pack up the house, and they are kind of dealing with the familial secrets that are lying beneath the surface of their relationship. It says when their pasts catch up to them, Renu and Akash must decide between the lives they left behind and the ones they've since created, between making each other happy and setting themselves free. It says Patel will make you laugh, then cry, then feel uncomfortable, then feel free, all within a few pages. I also love stories not only about grief, but also about familial relationships, because there are so many different ways you can write about it because there's so many different family dynamics. So I'm excited to read about a mother and a son and the relationship that they have now that they've lost their father figure. Well, the son lost his father figure and the mother lost her husband. But I'm excited to read about those dynamics and the secrets lying beneath the surface and how they have to deal with the aftermath of that all. I think it's going to be moving, I think it's going to be beautiful, and this cover is also stunning as well, and that's the reason why I entered this giveaway. So I'm very excited about it, and if any of you are planning to read it, please let me know because I would love to hear your excitement about it. And this also comes out it comes out this month. So if you want to get yourself a copy, now you can. This next book I have picked up and put down multiple times at bookstores because one, I never found a cover that I liked, and two, I was always hesitant to get it, but then I saw it at a used bookstore for $5, so I was like, it's $5, that's a grande frappuccino at Starbucks if you don't put oat milk in it, so I might as well sacrifice a frappuccino to get this book because I keep on eyeing it and I feel like it's going to be right up my alley. And it is If on a Winter Night's Traveler by Italo Calvino. And this is a classic novel that I have seen a lot of people talk about on Instagram. They usually share a lot of different quotes from him and it always sounds beautiful and lyrical. And it says that he was born in Cuba in 1923, but I'm pretty sure he's Italian. I think he was just like physically born in Cuba. I don't think he's Cuban. Yeah, he's Italian. So it says, if on a winter night a traveler turns out not to be one novel, but 10, each with a different plot, a different style, a different ambiance, and an author, but they all kind of mix together. And then it says that two readers, a male and a female, pursue both the storylines that intrigue them and one another. They are the true heroes of their novel. For what would writing be without readers? So someone messaged me on, oh, it is annotated. Someone put little brackets of their favorite lines. That makes me so happy. I love finding annotated copies of books at used bookstores because it just really tells a story and it gives me some insight into someone's reading journey with this book, so that makes me so happy. But someone messaged me and told me that this would be right up my alley and that it is beautifully written and it's very complex because it combines so many different stories into one. So I'm excited to get to this. I don't know if it's going to go over my head. I don't know if I'm going to be confused or anything, but I'm very excited about it because I've seen it so often in bookstores. I've seen it quoted so often on Instagram and Tumblr that it's enough to make me excited to read this book. The next book I recently acquired for my birthday from my friend Courtney, who was actually originally one of my pen pals, and we've just become friends over time, digitally and through letter writing, and it is just amazing. So she gifted me a copy of a book that I have been really excited to read that I heard about originally on my friend Monica's channel because she mentioned that she was reading it, and it sounded beautiful and unique and wonderful. And it is The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith. So this is a story all about stories, and it actually centers around books that are unfinished who reside in the Library of the Unwritten in Hell. So when characters from the story from the Library of the Unwritten start coming out of the pages, a librarian has to track them down and keep the collection complete. I love the concept of this story so much. I love the idea of stories residing in hell if they are unfinished. I love the idea of a librarian taking care of all these different stories. Like, how did they get to hell to take care of these stories? Were they originally like a really bad person who became a librarian at this place in hell? Why are these stories in hell? How are these characters escaping? I have so many different questions about this story, but I have heard that it is beautifully written, and I just love stories about stories. They always intrigue me, and it always makes me have a like renewed love for writing. So I cannot wait to read this, and it sounds really intriguing, so I hope I can get to it soon. One of my most anticipated reads from 2021 was gifted to me by Penguin Teen, so thank you so much to them, and it is I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. Ruta Sepetys is one of my favorite YA authors of all time. She always writes historical fiction about pieces of history that not a lot of people know about. So this one is set in 1980 Romania, when Romania was under a communist regime. So we follow our main character Christian, who wants to become a writer, but it's very difficult to do so under an oppressive regime where everything is regulated and you are not free to write whatever you want. So when he is blackmailed by the secret police to become an informer, he has two choices in front of him. He can either follow their lead and betray everyone he loves, or he can risk everything he has in order to shed light on the oppression that is happening in Romania. I am so excited to read this because I had never heard about Romania being under a communist regime before, so I want to educate myself about that. I'm excited for Ruta Sepetys' beautiful writing because it always crushes me and leaves me so emotionally distraught, and I just love the way that she just crafts her stories. It's definitely a story I want to get to soon, and I'm just so happy that I have another Ruta Sepetys novel in my hands, and I'm already thinking about like, what is she going to write next? What time period is she going to highlight? I would love to know what's like on her writing plans, but I'm just so happy that she already came out with another novel because her novels are few and far in between in the years because she has to do a lot of research and it probably takes a long time to write each story. So I'm just so happy that I have this in my hands now. The next novel that I recently acquired was a complete surprise and was given to me by Wednesday Books, and it is You've Reached Sam by Dustin Thao. This is a YA novel that I've seen so many people talk about, specifically so many people cry about, because it is a hard-hitting YA contemporary all about grief. So we follow our main character Julie, who just recently lost her boyfriend Sam, and she is just trying to do everything she can to move on from this and throw out all his memories and just kind of forget that this happened. But one day, overcome by grief, Julie calls up Sam's phone in hopes of hearing his voicemail, but then he answers the phone. So this deals with the aftermath of that and the conversations that they have on this phone and how Julie is able to have one last discussion with Sam before kind of grieving him and putting him to rest. So this YA contemporary seems like it's going to be so sad, it seems like it's going to be heart-wrenching, and it also just seems something that is right up my alley because I really do love sad books, and this is also another book that deals with grief. This cover is beautiful, and I've heard so many people say that the story on the inside is beautiful as well, so I cannot wait to read this, and I feel like I'm going to fly through it because I seem to always fly through YA contemporaries. So thank you so much to Wednesday Books for giving this to me because it just sounds so perfect for me. The next book that I recently acquired was one of my most anticipated reads, and it is To Paradise by Yahighara. This was given to me by Doubleday, and I'm just so grateful that they gave me a copy because I loved A Little Life by Hanya. I thought that it was beautiful. I thought that it was one of the most emotional books that I've ever read, and I just felt so connected to all those characters. So I'm excited to dive into another story by her that I feel like it's going to be equally as heart-wrenching, and I feel like I'm also going to get attached to all these characters. So I don't know too much about To Paradise. I just know that it says it spans 3 centuries and 3 different versions of the American experiment about lovers, family, loss, and the elusive promise of utopia. It's a pretty big book as well. It's like over 600 pages. Not nearly as big as A Little Life, but I feel like there's still going to be so much to explore in the story because I feel like Hanya just explores the human condition, like love, loss, friendships, romantic love, and all those things in between. And I think that Hanya does it really well because I don't know, I feel like they capture the spirit of what it means to be human, but also in a very sad way. So I cannot believe that I have this in my hands. I cannot believe that I am able to read this early, and I'm just so grateful to Doubleday for giving me a copy of the ARC, and I'm so excited for this story. I say that with a smile, but I know that this story is probably going to make me cry. Interesting how that is. Those are all the books that I have recently acquired, along with a couple of things that I have recently thrifted that have brought me so much joy. Let me know if you've read any of these books, let me know if you're excited for any of these books, as well as let me know if you want me to do a reading vlog for any of these books as well, because I would love to take your ideas into consideration. If you want to follow me anywhere else on social media, all my links will be down below if you want to follow me on Instagram, because I am very active over there. If you want to join my Patreon, that will also be linked down below. If you have made it this far in the video, leave a stack of books emoji down below to see who stays for the longest in all my videos. Thank you so much if you do. I really do appreciate you, and I hope you enjoyed this book haul, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!